Cyberpunk features a lot of guns. Snipers that can shoot through walls, shotguns that can throw enemies across a whole room, pistols that can breathe fire, and do really cool spins. But what if we didn't want to use any of them? What if we wanted to return to the good old days where we solved our problems with punching instead of iron? Can you beat Cyberpunk by only punching? Okay, so for rules, it's pretty obvious, let's be honest. I can only punch, I can only do any kind of unarmed attack. Maybe these don't count as punching, but is that sufficient for the YouTube title? If I have to shoot, I have to use a pistol. Any on-rail sections where I'm stuck in a car don't count. I have tried, and you just can't get through them without shooting. Can't use quick acts for damage, and I can be sneaky, but it's not really preferred because it's sort of lame later in the game. I will also, of course, be playing on very hard difficulty, just to add some extra challenge. To be honest, this game's not that difficult, but this is a challenge run, so I kind of have to. Right, that's enough yapping, it's time to start the game. We pick Street Kid for our life path. Spoiler, this makes no difference at all. Definitely just randomize my character and don't spend, 20 minutes making myself look as pretty as I can. And pick the starting stats of 6 body, 5 tech and reflexes, and 3 for everything else, because who needs anything else? We skip most of the intro, meet our new bestie Jackie for the rest of our lives, and get this cute little montage of us making a name for ourselves. Look at this, we're getting our weapons, Jackie's looking cool. Ignore that. Ignore that. See, it's all nice and wholesome. We get dropped into the intro mission and are tasked with sneakily, silently sneaking through this scavenger base to rescue someone. So we really quietly take out this first guy by slamming his head into a fridge and then really loudly dumping him inside of it. I then get spotted 2 seconds later somehow. I don't know how they saw through all my stealth techniques. Jackie dies, which is apparently something that can happen. I try and beat up this big bald freak, and we're dead 2 minutes into the game. So maybe a sign of things to come. But second attempt, stand the guy again, find a cool jacket, choke some guys out, which is allowed, kind of, and rescue the target and get out of here. To be honest, this intermission's pretty boring, so let's just keep it moving. On the way out, we are driving home with Jackie and get the first of many, surprisingly many, on-rails gun sections in this game. I did try this without shooting, but you just die as soon as you hit an invisible wall, so we'll just skip through that. Again, it doesn't count. Get home and reach level 2. This lets us get some health regen in combat, which doesn't sound that exciting, but really will make a huge difference because we're going to be carrying corners quite a lot, I won't lie. I beat the hell out of this boxing robot just kind of for fun and to unlock the boxing quest chain, which I'll have to do later just to prove my worth as Night City's greatest puncher. Head out on the street, ignore Jackie, and go off for our first little hustle, just to test my fist damage. So let's see how well we can take out these tiger claws. There's a few guys, but surely nothing that my fist can't handle. Get a sneak attack on the first guy, just to get him out of here. They somehow don't hear me, and let's get to punching. Here comes the damage. Whoa. That was only 8 punches to take down a single level 1 enemy. And now I'm almost dead. Melee guys immediately present themselves as a problem because they do way more damage than we can and just rush us down incessantly, while the gun guys pepper us from afar. But if we can get an enemy singled out like here, we can sort of stun lock them until they eventually just sort of give up out of feeling pity for us. Get another example here, get close to an enemy, you can just beat them up over and over again, they can't really react, and their body freaks out in a funny way, which, genuinely doesn't get old in the 20 hours of footage I had to sift through with this. So once we're down to just one guy, it's not too bad, but kills are slow. Separating enemies is the name of the game. I also then remembered that you don't get your car until you speak to Jack outside your apartment, so I sort of had to awkwardly saunter back to him. Listen to him talk about some heist we'll do in, a few hours. Get some brand new eyeballs from the goat Vic. And then get back out on the street again. So, big problem. I want gorilla arms because they're the apex of punching technology. But you can't get them until you're level 10. What this means is we need to do as many gigs and side quests as we can to reach level 10 before moving on with the main story. Starting with this gig here, we beat up this guy outside, and we're going to get our first taste of horrendous cyberpunk AI as they sort of single file walk into me and just get punched over and over again. A big theme throughout this video is that you'll see is the AI are really stupid, and there's two things they can't handle: door frames and stairways. I will be abusing this so much, and if you have a problem with it, that's probably really valid because, you know, sue me, basically. This is unfortunately the reality of an early game fist-only run. There's not really much we can do to big groups. We have no AoE, we have very little healing. The two little healing inhalers heal for not that much, and we take a lot of damage. So, it's got to be done this way. But slowly but surely we whittle through all of these goons, pick up a bunch of nice loot for selling because we have no use for money other than buying cyberware and drip, one of which is way more important than the other. Our second gig takes us to a nightclub tasked with taking out a guy on the top floor, and here's where we can really see the stairway effect in action as 6 enemies block my path. They won't come down, they won't go up, they just stand there waiting. So let's speed this up to, I don't know, 2.5 times speed, and you can see the ultimate elegant technique I developed of walk up, punch a guy once, run downstairs, heal, do a little jig, go up. So eventually, when I'm not scared, punch, punch, maybe get twice in if we're lucky, go back down, back to jigging, back up, back down, back up, back down. It's really riveting gameplay, so, you know, I bet you're quite disappointed that I sped this up, but if you want to experience this joy, go play it for yourself, that's all I can say. Just down to a few guys left on the staircase. They do eventually, thankfully, go down. Bear in mind, if we died at any point, we'd have to go back to the start of this gig, so almost dying to the last enemy was not in the plan. He dies, becomes one with the door frame. I move upstairs and find yet another staircase full of enemies. This might be a long run. Staircase Nightmare finally dealt with. We hit level 4 and get the Wrecking Ball skill from the body skill tree. This lets us sprint into enemies and knock them over, which sounds quite useful. In practice is really useful, and more importantly, really funny when you slam into a guy and knock him straight over. This gives us some much needed crowd control. Enemies either stagger or get knocked over entirely when they're hit with this move, which is really useful, especially against melee guys, as it lets us get them into the stun lock of doom. These 3 guys, who we would have no chance against before, can now be dealt with quite efficiently. At level 5, I start to feel a little bit more confident. I can start to take on maybe even 2 enemies at once, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. This gig reunites us with our new favourite enemy, the stairs, but this time, thanks to Wrecking Ball, I'm able to find the global of enemies at the top of the stairs, keep them stun locked with Wrecking Ball, and give them all 5 big booms over and over again. If only I had this, 2 minutes ago for the first Staircase Nightmare. And just like that, 5 or 6 enemies taken down with relative ease and only healing twice and almost dying twice. But that's fine. I level up some more, get the clapback skill, which lets us shove enemies over, which again is really funny. It's quite useful, maybe not as good as Wrecking Ball, but it is pretty effective to just knock a annoying enemy to the ground and beat their skull in. If you were worried, I did pay off my debt to Vic the Goat, and moved on to some more gigs. We're level 9 now, and I'm starting to get, again, pretty confident. Using Wrecking Ball tech, we're able to plow through enemies with not too much difficulty. Again, we are still really squishy, so separation and making sure enemies can't hit us all at once is really important, but we have some ways of dealing with them now at least. I'm so close to level 10, and this kindly tiger generously donates their spine to be shattered, which pushes us over the level 10 barrier. With level 10 achieved, we can finally go and pick up the gorilla arms with the elemental choice of normal, fire, electric, or stinky. I obviously went with electric, so that's cool. and I also pick up the double jump implant, making the game finally playable. The electric gorilla arms look just as cool as I imagine. We give Dex the welcome he deserves by punching in his window. He gives us 2 tasks, one to claim a spider bot from the scabs, and one to meet the planner of the heist, Evelyn Parker, and Night City is normal as always.
In case, I'll hit the all foods. Put my nose to the ground. Sniff around.
Oh no, she's alive! Our negotiations with the Maelstrom for the spider bot don't make it beyond the hellos, as Jackie refuses to sit down, and they try to kill us because of it. But it's a good chance to test out our new gorilla arms, as this first gong gets his head absolutely caved in, and poor Dum Dum gets to be the test subject for our arms. The big advantage is that he's hit 5 times in a row instead of just 3 with the regular fist, so he goes down pretty easy. More importantly, we level up and are able to unlock Quake, letting us do a big slam like this, which is really, really, really good and will be so important going forward. Now when I grabbed the gorilla arms, I also picked up a berserk implant. This takes your cyberdeck slot, and to be honest, I don't think anyone's ever used it, but let's give it a go. Essentially boosts our melee damage by a huge amount and makes us functionally invincible while it's active, but when we come out we're very vulnerable. Also, Jackie's dead again. He clearly's not got the memo because he's not supposed to die for quite a while. Spoilers. Anyway, let's keep testing our Quake. Yippee! Oh, there was explosive barrels there. Ooh, a sweater. Oh shit, I'm berserked. Oh god.
Nobody makes it out alive!
Oh my god! Yeah, apparently berserk just kind of lets you do that, which is a reason to buy it. Anyway, we're still plowing through these guys, and we're about to reach the first boss fight of the run, which is Royce, head of the Maelstrom. Let's see how well this goes. Oh, that was no damage. The big problem with the Royce is when we get close to him, he knocks us over, and then we'll just blast us with his rail cannon before we can really get up again, but basically a guaranteed insta-kill. So, we have to try and bait it out, and look for opportunities to get him behind to give him the real gorilla arm back shots. It's not going well so far. But on the 4th attempt, we find that he has to reload his rail cannon every now and then, and we can use this to, in combination with the berserk and the quakes, get some big damage in. Well, 5% is big enough damage, I guess. Occasionally Quake just sort of messes him up, and I'm not really sure why it does way more than 25 punches in a row, but we'll keep using this invulnerable pillar to take cover from the rail cannon until he needs to reload, and then go in. Eventually I blow his back out, doing a huge 25% damage, and we just keep slowly but surely whittling him down until he finally gives up. God, that was annoying. The other main quest is pretty boring, so we'll skip most of it. Instead, you can look at this huge ass slam. Yeah. There's only one thing you really need to know from the other quest chain with Evelyn, which is that I
look like a cut of fuckable meat, are you?
Evelyn.
Jumping ahead to the heist, Jackie clips the chip. Yorinobu works out his daddy issues in a interesting new way. And the whole plaza goes on high alert. Stealth is meant to be the way out, but, you know, where's the fun in that when I can turn a guy into just, whatever that is. This mission's going to be the first big test of our gorilla arms, but they're working out pretty well so far as we blow through this crowd using some quakes, some shoves, some punching to the head, really all my ancient techniques all at once. Berserk remains useful for invulnerability and big bits of extra damage. We keep moving through the tower with relative ease. The enemies are going down pretty easily. Plus look at these cool finishes. Circle strafing helps the big guys because they can't keep up with us because they can't crane the necks. Jackie tries to impress me by doing a punch of his own. Nice try, but here's how you really do it. die in a one-on-one to the last enemy, which is really embarrassing. Take them all out again, not dying to the last guy this time. And for our reward, we get a giant mech summoned to the lobby. I do try and kill it with a berserk rage, but it knocks me down, cancelling my berserk, and we do no damage at all. I skipped it, got in the lift, and to make up for my huge failure of a fister, I beat up all the Arasaka guys in the parking lot, just for fun. I did speed this up because it took a while, and they really couldn't figure out this square structure. It was unbelievable for them. But we take them out, hop in the whip, and are forced to shoot again. Just to prove you can't do these sections without shooting, I sat here for the whole time. The drones couldn't kill me, and then I just sort of passed away out of shame, I guess, which is annoying. But Jackie's dead. Not yet, but you know, he's dead. He passes the chip, which could do nothing wrong to us whatsoever. Dex shoots us in the head. Oh, that's what this game's called. Act 2 starts off tremendously as we're A, forced to play as Johnny, and B, kick off with a turret sequence in a helicopter. I did try not shooting. For some reason, some of the guards and turrets just sort of combusted. I'm not really sure why. Maybe if I sat here for, you know, an hour, they would all just sort of off themselves, but I wasn't going to do that, so they can all get blasted. Now, I did initially think you're stuck with Johnny's pistol, and I thought, oh, fine, I'll choose the alternate melee. With the cool breathing fire, you know, that'll take care of guys. It still sort of fits the rules. And it's fun. And Johnny's got no punching skills, so surely I can't punch with him, right? Take down the first few Arasaka guards, again, with huge amounts of ease. Mash alt on accident, and then realise, oh no, you can use fists. This then resulted in very slowly beating up every enemy, which you're supposed to one-shot with his overpowered pistol, but I don't get that luxury. Instead I have to hit each guy probably 12 times to kill them, with no perks, no bonuses, just Johnny's left and right hooks, and some thankfully really fast health regen. I almost have to shoot this cable, but thankfully the Malorian's all fire does break it, and then we're stuck in a big comeback section. Johnny really can't take more than one enemy at a time, but slowly but surely I make my way to the final room of this encounter, which also results in me dying. A few tries later, and we've successfully singled out every enemy in the room. One by one, they'd filter into that hallway, and I could beat the shit out of them. And the last remaining enemy, scarily, was a guy with a shotgun, but thankfully he was incapable of turning left and right. So the Johnny section is over, thank God for that. There'll be a worse one in the future. We're back as V, in an on-rail section. Again, it's pretty boring, so we can just, you know, skip through it. It's time to get introduced to the lovely Johnny Silverhand, who now lives inside of our head. He's a very pleasant, polite, and just generally a jovial guy to be around.
Stick some iron in your mouth and pull the
I'm
trigger.
not allowed! And if you tell me to fist myself... Oh hey look, we're level 20 in the body stat, which gets us the final blunt weapons perk, giving us a finisher and a throw, which will be really funny. Story stuff. Tank gives us 2 main quests to do. To be honest, I'm more just looking at the guy eating the burger in the background, because it looks really funny. And it's a big burger, and I kind of want it. Anyway, let's go try our brand new throw ability. That'd be more fun than whatever he's talking about. So bad.
Don't lose her!
Wasn't worth it. Wait, it was worth it. Throw him! Yeah! That was amazing. Finish her! Check this out. Savage Sling!
Go right ahead.
Oh, shut. So with our new favourite perk in tow, I decided let's do some mining off camera, get a little bit stronger, and more importantly, keep throwing people because he's really funny and I like doing it. It's my favourite thing in this whole playthrough, is just throwing people. Points at everybody. Come here. So yeah, this build might actually be like 100 times more powerful than I ever really thought it could be, especially in this difficulty. Between the quakes, the slams, the big Reinhardt shatters, the fists, the gorilla arms, everything we've unlocked, things are starting to die, you know, pretty fast. And just for good measure, here's one more good Savage Sling. Long live the king! Anyway, thanks for doing all those city centre gigs. We're up to level 20, and I can upgrade the chrome some more because of all the money I've got, because the economy in this game completely broke after 2.0, and you're just flush with cash. But it would be much of a punishing playthrough if I didn't do the boxing quest, so let's start by taking out these two dorks. They were one guy in the same in two different bodies, who cares? Anyway, it turns out you can use Quake during boxing and scare the shit out of the audience, and also bring the police coming, which is not great, especially when the guys you beat up kind of refuse to get up and give you money. And then the police show up and start shooting up the ring, and no one reacts except you, and you have to run in a circle till you can finally get your money from this bald fraud. Please give me my cash, please, 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 please. Caesar is next. Unsurprisingly, he kind of gets destroyed. Ignore that I'm low health, it doesn't matter. These are made to be done by any build, and we do have like the best punching move possible, so you know, it's not really his fault. Next is Buck. He's a bozo. He gets absolutely smashed like he deserves. Even working a little parry. But just having gorilla arms alone is enough to make these quests way too easy, let alone when you can slam and do all the other stuff that we can do. He takes losing really gracefully, which is actually good because it means I get to beat him up again and his boys. God, I love Quake. And God, I love Savage Sling. This playthrough generally got 50 times more enjoyable when I unlocked both his moves. And the finishes. That's pretty mean. Rhino's the last boxing match that we have access to at the moment. She's meant to be the hardest, so, well, I'm not even really have time to speak. Yeah, this felt pretty bad. She's actually quite nice, so, you know, ruining her entire life, all of her dreams and everything she's ever worked for was, you know, not too fun, but give me the money! Back to the main quest, we decided to start with the parade. Basically, the guy who got choked in about 3 seconds of footage, that's Saburo Arasaka. His daughter's going to be in town for a little parade celebrating that he's dead or something. I don't know, he had it coming. And we're going to very sneakily sneak onto her parade float and tell her that her own brother was the guy that choked her dad, which is uncomfortable. Tricked you, we actually can't advance that quest because we're waiting for Takamura to get back to us, so we're actually doing Judy's quest. Anyway, we're gonna go interrogate this guy in a club. He's a massive piece of shit, so I deliberately, you know, antagonize him, which is fun. Fun fact, the first time I beat him, the game crashed and I had to redo this. You'd think this was a bad thing, but as you can hear from my voice, I really enjoyed it because it meant I could beat him up again. He wasn't really made for fisting. I also threw him into the wall and do that to him, because we can do that now as well. Funny! After assassinating the boss, it's time to escape the club. With how strong we are now, this really could not be a problem, so we're just going to fly through all these tiger claws. You know, even pick up Big Boy here, throw him his friends. I mean, you know, second try, things are going to go a lot better.
Okay, third try. This is getting embarrassing. Big quake. Please don't blow me up. And we're out of here with no trouble. So we couldn't do the parade quest because Takuma was apparently gathering information, but I actually just found him sort of standing in the street, awkwardly staring at me and not saying anything, which, to be honest, is the realest thing he's done so far. In our hunt from Evelyn, Woodman from the club led us towards this sleazeball. You can already tell which dialogue option I'm going to pick here because screw this guy. Bonk! Now, people say he sells great cyberware, but, you know, he doesn't to me because he's dead. Anyway, Fingers creepy ass, and yes, that is unfortunately his name. Let us know that Evelyn's been taken by the scabs, which is bad news for her, but really good for me because I honestly love beating these guys up. She's held at an old power plant, and the good news is stealth is very optional, especially now. We're doing a lot of damage, but we do have to be careful because V is very squishy, even with 20 body and all the cyberware we have. But between the triple hills we have, dashing and berserk spamming, which you're going to see a lot more of in the future, we can survive. Just about. We still need to segment. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Forget it. We find Evelyn, who is in a pretty terrible state, and take her back to Judy's to definitely survive. But on lighter news, I got a text from Jimmy Balatro himself, my favorite character in the game. I love you, Balatro. Oh, and we also can't advance this quest line either because we have to wait. So, big ground slam to make me feel better. I promise you, that never gets old. And then, to be honest, I just kind of stopped this run. I started it at the start of the year, and after that, I just kind of lost interest. And I think what it was is I was missing the challenge. So, I made an executive decision to tear my gorilla arms off and go back to fists. Thankfully, the Ripper Doc were just keeping my arms in the back room. So, hopefully now with our regular, I don't even know what word to call them. I can't think of anything funny to call them, but forget it. Regular hands, we'll get some challenge back and maybe bring back some more fun to the run. So let's have our first fist fight and see how that goes. I've made a terrible mistake. Right, back to the parade quest. This time we're just our regular old meat punches. We're breaking into the Arasaka Industrial Park to plant some bug to help us get onto the float, and I'm trying to steal a truck to get in, which is going really well. I suck at this game. This quest will be a good test to see how our fist damage is without the gorilla arms. But with Berserk, and our stats, and our leveled up solo skill from all the fisting, the damage is still pretty good. So we managed to break in quite easily, get horribly flashbanged, and then just kind of break out again. This quest is always really easy and kind of boring, to be honest. But let's spice it up with a few more punchings before we leave. God, this guy's code's cool. God, that animation was cool. Yeah, it turns out the regular fists have their own finisher animations different from the gorilla arms, and they're really fun. Trick Chew, the parade quest, is brought to a standstill again, so we're off to meet r/Cyberpunk's favourite goon material, Panam Palmer. She needs to reclaim some of her goods that were stolen from her and a deal gone wrong, yada yada yada. She complains a lot. We drive over, and let's go take them back. So using efficient stealth and elegance, we sneak into this town to jump the guys that stole her stuff, and it's another good test of the regular old hands. Breaking enemies down into smaller groups is still the key to surviving, and using quakes, shoves, and everything we can to stun them as much as possible. As I mentioned before, you're also going to see a lot more berserks from now on as I start to realize how obviously overpowered not being able to die is. So, yeah, you think I would have caught on to that earlier, but apparently not. It's only a few seconds of vulnerability, but it can save our life. However, Berserk is on a big cooldown, so we need to be very, very careful when we use it. As you can see, the punch damage isn't awful. Enemies do die decently quick, The animation is also amazing. I'm surprised they put the detail in like that. Anyway, you haven't seen a Savage Thing for a while, so fuck this guy. Pan Am wasn't fully satisfied as we didn't get the guy who initially screwed her over, so we take another pit stop to get some more punching in, some more XP for me. I rush in, get a gigantic slam. Hey, an achievement. Mow these guys down a bit more, and then get absolutely dropped by the boss, which is embarrassing. This area does take us a few tries. As I said, we are still really squishy. So at any moment when the AI decide they can aim, we can just sort of die, which is unfortunate. On the third run, I lock in, using our brand new Blitz Pump Cyberware alongside the Adrenaline Rush perk to overcharge my health as much as possible. Thankfully, the enemies also, again, decide they can't aim, which seems to be how a lot of these runs are decided. Rush straight to Nash, absolutely slam him to the ground, and don't let him play. Really, that's the trick. You've got to use all your stuns, all your slams, all your shoves. The 3 S's, they're key. Pan Am finally decides to hold up her end of the bargain and actually help me with something, so we have to break into a power station. There's another very boring on-rails turret sequence. And then it's made up for by shooting down this AV, which is carrying Anders Hellman, the creator of the Relic, the thing in our head, which is killing us, but giving us Keanu Reeves. So, it's 50-50. Pan Am's silly friends have decided to check out the landing site for the AV that we shot down, so we have to go rescue them, which means we can beat up some robots, which makes a nice change of pace. Shockingly, we kill the robots faster than we do the regular humans, even though, they're made out of metal and not flesh, but they still get ragdolled around, they still get shoved, and most importantly, they still get knocked the fuck out. Nice and easily. I appreciate that. Huge aura loss as I can't figure out how to turn off the turrets, which are absolutely blasting me with missiles, but more importantly, I make up for it by, I don't know, what would be something cool I could do right now? Other than fumbling looking for the console, it's right there. Hey, why don't we punch a combat drone out of the sky with just our hands? And Berserk, which does make us invincible, but just ignore it. It's still cool, I promise. See, I'm quaking the robot and it blew up with just my hands. I'm cool. Oh, and Attempt number 2, I don't change my plan at all because I don't have a plan in the first place. So why change it? The robots really do get mowed through. They're not the strongest enemies, to be honest. And magically, I find the console for the missiles. It was right there the whole time, you absolute bonehead. We find Pan Am's boy Mitch, and now, don't get me wrong, I like Mitch. He's a great character, he's a nice guy. Do not put a gun in my hands and tell me to save him, because, trust me, he is not worth breaking the rule set for. No one is. Oh, I guess he kind of broke himself out. Pan Am's kind of going on about how all of her friends are dead or something, but I found a cool bike, so this is way more interesting. I'm going to drive to the desert in my brand new bike, which might have been one of her friends. Yeah, my bike. Any essence of coolness I felt driving this bike is immediately lost as I try and jump off it and slam straight into a van, giving myself a gigantic concussion. I guess I sort of make up for it by punching a turret to death, which is, admittedly, very awesome, but nothing can make up for that gigantic aura loss. Berserk remains the quiet MVP. We can cross so much distance without worrying, and also throw people without worrying. That might have been the best one yet. Just the way his legs sweep out. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's so funny. It just is. Continuing chasing Hellman, we find out he's being held in this gas station, surrounded by Kang Tao. We go in very stealthily as we shove over this first guy and utterly decimate him with repeated blows to the head, which is, as you probably realize by now, basically the strategy for the rest of the game.
Berserk lets us take on a much bigger group than we should feasibly be able to do. I punch a little comet drone out the sky, which is, again, always fun. And just keep slamming. I know I said the last Savage Sling might be my favourite one so far, but this is actually the best one so far. We take a guy and kill his own damn combat drone with himself. We find Hellman and do the only thing I'm really good at, which is punching him. For some reason she uses a gun, maybe just to keep him alive, because otherwise his head would explode. And then, slap him again, determined to interrogate him to get his mayonnaise recipe. But I'm no good at negotiating, so we hand him over to Takamura. Okay, so bad news. That chip is lodged in our head real good. Keanu Reeves is overwriting our brain, and there's nothing we can do about it. So to make us feel better, have some retail therapy. By going to where we fought Nash, we can find the Rayfield Caliburn, the fastest car in the game, just left there for free. It's really fast and really cool. It's not got any relevance to the punching, but, I just want to show off my new Bugatti. Not content with just a car, we upgrade our drip with this outfit. Every pair of trousers in this game is horribly ugly, don't blame me. God, I hate them. Okay, finally, for real this time, it's time for the parade quest. The brain rot's clearly getting to view already because she thinks these fake leaves are real, and it's have to be very sneaky and eliminate some snipers very sneakily. Remember, we cannot be seen, we cannot be heard, so we're going to very quietly take out this first sniper. It's very important that the crowd don't panic and that Hanako doesn't know we're coming. Stealth. You won't know it yet, but this area will actually become my personal hell, but we'll get to that. We take out the guard of the second sniper by, punching him in the penis until he just sort of gives up on life, which is fair enough. We even thrown an extra one for good measure. And again, stealth. The second sniper goes down without much trouble, and another penis punch, and we, die to the very next enemy because I was too busy disarming a mine. Don't worry, there will be far worse deaths in this tiny section alone. Hey, does Quake cancel full damage? No! You idiot! Hey, let's carry this guard to the sniper and kill him with Savage Sling, that'll be funny. Let's just jump over the mine. No! Okay, let's get our revenge on that guard by doing a big Quake on him. I can't possibly lose this one. I can! The shoves just refuse to work, but it's still probably my fault. Okay. On attempt, literally number 5, we make it back to the second sniper, take him out, and this time, thankfully, make it upstairs, where we find we are being attacked by a gunship. With just our puny little hands, there's not too much we can do against it. So, let's just get the hell out of here. We can use the stairs to break LOS with the gunship, and the enemies just sort of single file walk towards us. They still can't handle stairs, thankfully, even if it's elite Arasaka guards. The gunship just sort of stops firing us out of pity, I guess, for everything that's happened so far in this mission. We then break a guy's neck using Bluetooth connection. We find a spectre fading in and out of this dimension. And then find that the gunship has given up on being friendly, and there's only one way to hurt it. Thankfully, it's with Savage Slings! Even enemies that are already dead, we can pick up their bodies and use them as ammo. I've been doing this as a sort of last resort, but in this situation, I just sort of couldn't resist throwing as many bodies as possible to blow up the gunship. You'll be pleased to see I have sped up this footage by 250% because it was pretty boring. And the worst part is, the bastard even tries to kamikaze me on the way down. Finally past that horrifying, horrible section, and we're on our way to the third sniper. He goes down, thankfully, very easily. And what was I worried about in this mission again? Oh yeah, Oda was the enemy I was most worried about starting this run in general. His swords do incredible damage at close range, and as you can see in this first run, we get some decent damage in, and then get absolutely wiped.
Distance! What's the distance? Stay away from his blade. He will slice you like fish.
fucking god I didn't save the gamer back at the second sniper. Kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. Anyway, this time surely we won't die in any stupid way. Just to prove how bizarre this mission's got, by the elevator to the third sniper, this time a gigantic guy spawns who was not there last time, who then proceeds to do this. An absolute aura farm on me while I punch him in the sternum until he just kind of allows me to pass. Okay, back to Oda, and yes, this time I made sure all the enemies were dead in the previous era so I could get a checkpoint, because you cannot save otherwise because it says you're in combat. I immediately come up with a brand new technique for Oda, which is run in a circle and elbow him repeatedly until he just kind of falls over. This works great. When he goes in Viz, it's pretty easy to track him down and get some free damage with some quakes, holding him in place with shoves, and just generally beating the hell out of him. Thanks to Berserk, we can have some really big damage phases, especially as he gets stuck in stupid animations while we just continue punching him in the face. There are a few close calls, both his blades and his guns do a lot of damage, but we find him while he's in Viz, cancel his healing, pop a Berserk, and take him out. Honestly, 2 tries was not that bad. Anyway, Takamura's got something to say.
I managed to...
Oda, is he dead?
He's breathing. For now.
Please, V. Show him mercy.
I'm sorry.
There should be...
My bad, Tak. Anyway, he snuck on Hanako's float and is negotiating with her. As you can see, it goes really well. Tak sneaks Hanako to a hideout down the road, and how many times did he say to knock on the door? Huh. That dastardly Takamura, if only there was some way he could have told me how many times to knock. But don't worry, I'm no gonk, as V says. I feel really stupid. Back to the hideout. Unsurprisingly, Arasaka managed to track us down, considering we're about 3 seconds away from the crime scene. The lighting in here is terrible, so I've mostly skipped through this fight. There's a lot of Arasaka guys. We abuse the fact that Takamura can't die and will just take damage for forever. And, you know the drill. Slam, Savage Sling, punch, everything we can, and abuse Berserk to make sure we can't die. Let's get back to somewhere where YouTube's compression won't completely screw over the lighting. And do the Voodoo Boys quest. I hate those guys. We meet with everybody's favourite character, Placide, who, I will admit, has a very cool coat, and a task with breaking into an abandoned mall to beat up all the animals inside. Animals the gang, not animals the concept. At this point, stealth feels very antithetical to the challenge. I think that's how you pronounce that word. So we just kind of go flying in through the front door. I've never done this quest without stealth, so we'll see how it happens. Placide promises there's at least 30 animals inside, so that's a lot of kills for me. Now, despite how strong we are in melee, surprisingly, the most difficult enemies so far have been other melee guys, mostly because they can block our attacks, which we can't really break. The shove kind of does it, but not a great job. And when they punch us back, it hurts really hard. Really bad. I don't know if either of those made sense. Anyway, let's just kind of, punch his beefcake until he falls over. Now, for a bunch of roided up, punchy boys, that's stupid, I have to give the animals credit. They make a really good decision, which is shutting the door on me, and then, annoyingly, realizing they have wall hacks and can shoot me through the damn door. Not fair. Upstairs, we continue to move through the animals in the way we've become accustomed to, which is throw them at any given opportunity, because it's, again, still really funny. The finishes remain great. The quakes remain amazing. That one was really satisfying, I can't lie. But, looking at this map, I may have bitten off more than I can chew. There are a lot of enemies in here. Again, Berserk will keep us going, but for how long? And yeah, Savage Sling Chain. I then box the air and die from embarrassment. Despite how far we've come, I have to admit I am still a massively greedy little pup, and whenever I see the chance for a gigantic quake, I literally can't resist. I died before I even hit the floor. Attempt number 3, I actually methodically moved through them all, taking the upper stairs first, and not just kind of gliding down the escalator like an idiot, and make a horrible discovery. The Animals have hired a fucking wizard who can fly. This looks really stupid. On the bright side, we cleared the room this time. Just a few more enemies to take out with Berserk. And you already know I'm going to savage sling on every single opportunity. Have I mentioned how funny it is yet? Our reward for making it through that gauntlet of animals is a fist fight against a gigantic woman with a big hammer, which is not as fun as it sounds. The hammer knocks us to the floor, her health pool is gigantic, and she doesn't really seem to care about getting punched in the face. We do manage to stun her, pushing into her second phase where she drops the hammer, where she then absolutely kicks the hell out of me. I wish I had combos like that. I begin to worry this will take a while. I sneakily steal her hammer before... This moves us straight into her second phase. I'm not editing that, I'm keeping it as it is. But actually, in her fisting mode, she's really not that difficult. I wish I hadn't said that. She has this gigantic slam attack, which after the end has gigantic exit frames and lets us beat the shit out of her from behind. Again, I should really edit everything I'm saying right now. It's really bad. But all you need to know is we keep punching her in the back, and eventually she gives up and dies. Thankfully. At the end of this area, some nerd tries to talk to us, so I immediately slam him into a locker. This completely soft locks the game, which I didn't know could happen. He's kind of in between being dead and alive, which is completely blocking us from interacting with him and jacking into him. Man, I really need to start editing what I say. On the second attempt, I gracefully let the stupid nerd live about 3 seconds longer, so he dies properly this time, and I can successfully jack into his skull, nothing seedy. Placide fucks us over, blows his skull up, almost blows my skull up, and it's time to go and say hello and get my revenge. Outside, a pair of friendly voodoo boys offer to take us to Placide. They don't expect us to be alive, and you know what? Let's all help each other. I give their car a little push start with a quake. They very graciously say thank you and slowly walk towards it. Maybe we can be friends. Maybe me and my history of hating the voodoo boys is finally over. Maybe by helping each other we can finally break common ground. And still hate Placide because he's a prick. I sort of pushed their car for a little while because it was funny the way they just didn't react. It's funny now watching it back. Look at that flip. Honest, these two, I wish circumstances were different because you two are the chillest guys I've ever met in my life. I love you. I bust into the Voodoo Boys base, ready to beat the hell out of them for betraying me and, yapping a lot. But then Bleeder Brigitte asked us to go into an ice bath so she can look for Keanu Reeves in her head. I guess she's like a big Matrix fan or something. I'm skipping all the dialogue, I don't care about these losers. Turns out the Voodoo Boys have another horrible trick up their sleeves because it's another Johnny section, which means we're back to punching with no abilities, no gorilla arms, no damage bonus even from the silver hands, and for some reason a really dark room. Let's fix the gamma. Okay, that's way better. Now you can see that we are surrounded by 10 billion Arasaka guys with absolutely, as mentioned, no damage. Due to Johnny's inability to do any meaningful punching damage and my inability to break the rule set by pulling out his gun that you're clearly meant to use in this section, we're basically stuck in this room waiting for Santiago and Rogue to do anything, which, spoiler, they won't. So I get the bright idea of, let's just run. The quest objective just says escape, and then changes to defeat the Arasaka agents, so, screw this plan, I guess. Completely feeling abject panic that I'm stuck in a Johnny section for God knows how long, because look how many dots there are on the minimap. I managed to spin around this ground floor, run as fast as I can, and eventually find a hiding spot underneath the stairs where the enemies will single file run into us and let themselves receive the silver hand of justice, which no one will ever call it again. We can kill enemies, again, if they're singled out. Johnny's health regen is really fast, so 1v1s are nice and easy and with a quick recovery, but eventually the elevator unlocks and we can leave. There's just one slight problem. Santiago and Rogue have to be in the lift with us before we can go. Rogue makes it, thankfully. Santiago is on his way,
But as you can see by the little green diamond on the minimap, also Rogue's getting absolutely blasted. Sorry, the animation's really funny. And we're still waiting for Santiago, very politely, nicely waiting in the lift. He's almost here. And he's getting absolutely annihilated. The katana guy pushes him into the lift, but he decides, no, I'm going to stay here and finish what I've been doing. He's so close to being, please, Santiago. I then realized that the only way we're going to get him out is by running out, which doesn't work. The lift then gets surrounded by Arasaka agents, and there's literally nowhere safe to stand. I've been trying to use Rogue as cover, but I have to make my play. At this point, I also don't even know where Santiago's gone. I think he's gone back upstairs, and I die. I hate you. I cut the next try out because it was just really boring, but after about 15 minutes of a slow slog punching through everyone, we make it outside. I'm not sure if I've got a checkpoint at this point, so I'm being ultra careful. Thankfully, there are a few less guys outside, and Rogue and Santiago do divide the damage quite nicely, and we make it through this section on the first try, which is great. Back to being flummoxed by staircases, these enemies refuse to push up and just kind of block the stairs. Between my non-existent damage and Rogue and Santiago's inability to actually do anything of use, I decided to make a play. By running towards the gate, I was hoping we could just leave, but instead this splits up the AI, which is great. One guy surges forward, he's easily taken out thanks to a grab, which you can just kind of sometimes do. I've never really been able to figure it out. And we're just down to some 2v2s. They all keep focusing on Rogue, I keep beating the hell out of them, and the plan works. This Johnny section refuses to end as we now break into Arasaka Tower to break Alt out. Things start, as you'd expect, with a lot of guys, all designed to be killed with our really overpowered pistol. I get down to 8 HP, do a big slide and make it back into the lift, and here you can see just how fast Johnny's health regen is. It's way faster than V's, but you have no health items, so it sort of balances out. Back to the old plan, just sort of storm past the enemies, try and open the door, and if that doesn't work, find a hidey hole to hide in, where they can all walk into you. Shockingly, hiding behind glass doesn't work great, but, and let me introduce you to my new best friend, this door. Enemies, as mentioned before, really struggle with both doorways and staircases, and this one especially flummoxes them. I've used the word twice in the last 20 seconds, and no one has ever used it on YouTube before. They just sort of stack them in this door frame and are able to proceed through it, so they get beaten up incessantly. As you can tell, I'm not made for this talking fast thing, but I am made for beating up Arasaka guys and abusing a doorway, which they can't figure out. I do feel kind of bad. This might be considered cheese, but playing as Johnny is really boring in a punch-only run. Who'd have thought? I really wish I hadn't found out you can equip your fists, to be honest with you. The door to the next area finally opens. I continue running through until I'm told to fight things, and we come face to face with a gigantic turret, which absolutely annihilates me while doing some spins. I got put in a montage. Yippee! Thankfully, it seems like this turret is the only enemy that we have to kill to proceed. So I'm psyching myself up, ready to try and make a play, circle strafe it, beat it up as much as I can, when our new friends Santiago, Rogue, and whatever the reporter guy's called, just kind of kill it for me. This is the first time the AI have actually managed to kill something. And it's a pretty tanky enemy. I'm quite impressed. Thanks, guys. My joy was unfortunately short-lived, as the final area has a melee enemy as a boss. Even as V, melee enemies are horrible, as Johnny, it's going to be downright painful. The biggest advantage is that we again have 3 AI to just draw the fire, and we have the greatest invention ever made, a doorway, to completely confuse the enemies. We slowly whittle down the ads before focusing on the big boy, because there's no chance I'm going to try and punch him again shot in the back by 100 magnums. Eventually the goons will go down. The boss Akira decides to absolutely wail on Thompson, which is amazing for me. I punch him a few times in the back, he staggers, and then I'm allowed to just grab him and break his neck and insta-kill him. Great! Johnny, don't do it. Johnny, don't do it. Johnny, don't do it. Don't make me do all this punching for nothing, you prick. Thankfully, after a large plot dump, which I very kindly skipped, we're back in the real world, free from the silver hands, and well, I wasn't just going to walk out of the Voodoo Boys base without absolutely annihilating their leadership, grunts, and everybody involved with them, or anyone who's ever spoken to them in their lives. This is my favourite part of the game, because I really hate these guys. Cyberpunk is absolutely full of really hateable enemy factions, especially with how much they'll screw you over, so it just makes all the punching, quaking, slamming, and savage slinging you can possibly muster even more fun. Boop! At last, it's time for the 1v1 with our favourite coat-wearing absolute asshole, Placide. He is unfortunately equipped with a shotgun, which can kill us very quickly at close range, but I'm not worried because he sucks. He gets a few good licks in, but nothing a good old berserk and beating the hell out of him routine can't fix. If you can't tell by now, this, shockingly, is the go-to plan for every enemy in the game because we have no alternative. But as you can see, it works really well. Give me that coat, you horrible bastard. And with that quest, we're actually done with all the main quests before the final one. I do a little bit more mining off screen, completing Johnny's personal quest in order to unlock our preferred ending, which you'll see soon enough. We meet him in this junkyard, give him a little funeral, and by saying the correct things, we unlock the Don't Fear the Reaper ending. Thanks to doing a lot of the Hayward gigs off camera, I've hit level 37 and have 300 grand burning a hole in my pocket, so I upgrade all my chrome as much as possible, picking up a legendary berserk and a second heart to help us revive ourselves when we die. We commit the cyberpunk sin of meeting with Hanako, and she tells us to join a Arasaka Teams call and tell them that Yorinobu's a snake. This sounds really boring, so let's go do a different ending instead. Now I could go for the suicide ending, but that would use a gun, which is breaking the rules, so instead, let's use Johnny's plan. Let's just blast through the doors of Arasaka Tower on our own, fists in hand, ready to kill. Let's do it.
You, me, and Arasaka Tower. Kinda sounds like a Eurodyne lyric, I know, but trust me, we'll go fucking Nova.
If I gotta die, rather fall into my grave gun in hand and on fire. And not drag anyone down with me.
Huh. You just discovered what it takes to become a legend. Grab your iron. Let's mobilize.
So this is it, the hardest quest in the game. Don't Fear the Reaper reduces your max HP, puts you solo against all of Arasaka's forces, and continues cutting down your max HP as the mission progresses. There are also no saves, you are sent right back to the start if you fail. So let's see how well we can do. So yeah, I failed to make it past the first group of enemies, which is just 4 punching guys. Second attempt, we do manage to beat them, and get rewarded with a lovely surprise. It's 2 gigantic mechs! Our damage output on these guys is seriously low. They barely go below 100 HP after our entire swing. We get launched across the room, knocked over, thankfully revived thanks to second heart, stand up, and immediately die. This might be a problem. I'm starting to fear this quest is scaled for max level 60 characters, and I really do not have the patience to go and farm up to level 60. So I institute a new rule, no starting a new fire without berserk, so we can test the waters and see what we can do. I get knocked down by the mechs immediately, which actually knocks me out of berserk and almost kills me. Thankfully I can reinitiate it. An entire berserk rush did about 12% damage to these mechs, so it's not going great. Also, for as long as we wait for berserk to come off of cooldown, we're losing max HP due to the relic, killing us. I do get to do a finisher on this mech after a few punches, and it just kind of dies, which is great. I'm not sure why, it might be a bug, I'm not going to complain, because it works in the second one as well. The third course of this horrible pain meal is another wave of elite guards in the lobby. We do have to take them all down to get a key for the lift. They thankfully come in waves, and also thankfully work as great ammo against each other. Our upgraded berserk lasts way longer, and also has much shorter cooldown, so we are allowed to be safe for a lot longer. I also still can't resist the savage sling, even in these high pressure environments. Just 3 more guys to deal with before we can get the elevator key. A couple of basic goons, and a guy in a cool white outfit. He's got mantis blades, but he can't resist being picked up and slid across the floor. Key in hand, we have to wait for the lift, which is horrible because there's even more guys that have shown up. Yes, this mission is an absolute onslaught. This wave is full of shotgun guys, so I have to resort to grabbing bodies from the lobby and just throwing them as hard as I can. These walls do help. The enemies kind of single file walk around, adding to another list of things the AI can't handle, alongside staircases and doorways. They can't handle basic architecture. This will save us. The elite minigun guys just refuse to die no matter how many punches I give them. The shotgun guys walk around and almost kill me every time. We do still have our second heart, but I don't want to waste it because 5 minutes of waiting for it to come off cooldown is 5 minutes of lost HP. And there are still a lot of enemies to deal with. The Elbow of Justice still remains a great tool for stunning enemies. Honestly, I wish I'd used it more throughout the run. It is really fun. We unfortunately take it down and have to waste our second heart, but we're still alive, which is the most important thing. I then fat finger my E key and accidentally enable and then disable my berserk, which almost gets me killed. I would have been very upset. A few more cleaned up with a berserk, and I quickly noticed that the lift is just sort of there. I'm not sure why, but let's go. This is also where I make a huge discovery. Did you see that flash at the top? Yeah. The game's saved. Last time I did this ending, every time you died you went back to the very start, but thankfully I will never see that lobby again. I do, immediately die, but at least I'm just back here. I try running through all the enemies. This door just refuses to let me through, proving that even I can be beaten by a simple doorway. I get trapped in this back room, and you can probably guess what happens from here. On the next attempt, I played really smart. I took my time, I took the enemies out slowly, one by one, and as my reward, the last guy decided to lock himself behind this door. I have to kill more to progress, so it's a reload, unfortunately. Thankfully on this run, the large guy behind the door at the end decides to come out and play, so I repay him by repeatedly punching him in the spine until it collapses into 1,000 little pieces. Good. Honestly, you had it coming. His backup get quickly smushed by a big slam, Pinisher, punch and pabbage pling combo. And we finally beat this section. That took about half an hour of real time, by the way. We then have to make a play for the mainframe. I notice there's a huge amount of enemies in this room, so I've just decided I'm not going to deal with it. A couple of air dashes, a couple of berserks, we can get past anything. This group of elite enemies go down pretty easily, thanks to berserk, and my favourite savage sling. And again, our reward is a room, look at the minimap, filled with probably 20 to 25 guys, and I'm definitely not exaggerating. I don't know what I'm trying to do to survive here, but shockingly, it doesn't work. At this point, I've been doing this mission for close to an hour, and I'm starting to think, maybe I do need to leave. Maybe I need to level up some more, get some better chrome, just improve my skills as a human being. Maybe I'm not good enough at boxing. Maybe I'm not destined to be the champ of Night City like I always thought I could be. Oh, actually, maybe I'm the best. I run past all the enemies again on the way to the mainframe after slogging through that control room section again. Ignore all the guys, and do my signature move of scrambling until I find, who'd have thought, a doorway. This gives me time to assess and realize that most of the enemies are actually weak robots. One of our biggest quakes yet deals with most of the enemies, and a few more punches takes a few more down. We can always retreat to that room for safety, because again, the enemies are really stupid and take away a lot of the challenge, but whatever, I'll cheese as much as I want because it's my video. Okay, I can't lie.
The sword guy scared the hell out of me. But eventually the enemies do just sort of get whittled down. The last heavy guy gets beaten by a very sophisticated plan of slowly circle strafe around him and punch him in the tush until he just kind of gives up. The mainframe rises and we're able to plug all in. I do get, smacked in the face during the cutscene, but thankfully I'm invulnerable. I almost die, but all takes over and shocks the hell out of everyone. Me included, because I got another save. No more mainframe, no more control room. It's been like an hour and 15 minutes, thank God. And hey, guess what? We made it. It's time for the final boss. Adam Smasher. This bald freak. This guy. You remember him? In his first phase, he's mostly focused on punching, which works for us because we can use all of our usual tools: berserk, quake, shove, punch, kick, slam, throw, anything we can to do as much damage as possible. He can knock us over, which is annoying, but in berserk we're still basically invulnerable, and after enough damage it lets us do a finisher for an extra burst of damage. Phase 2 plays much the same. We use our blood pump to give ourselves overhealth thanks to the adrenaline rush perk. Go in and do as much damage as possible. He's more focused in this phase on launching rockets and generally being a nuisance, but once we close the gap we can do some big damage. And unsurprisingly, a lot of it comes from berserk. Let's be honest, berserk is cheese. It keeps you invulnerable. Pretty much every cyberware that fits that slot, including the Cyberdex and Devastan and whatever the other one is, I've already forgotten, are really, really strong, but it's all part of the fun. Phase 3, Adam neglects the honourable 1v1 and summons a bunch of snipers to help him out like a lame-o. Thankfully, we're really fast thanks to all of our red ashes, and we can dart around the room, take them out one by one, quickly as possible, before they get really, really annoying. They have to be gone before we can do anything to Adam, so let's just get them done as quick as we can. These will be some of the final nerds I beat up with these hands. What an honour. Back to Smasher, he uses his Devastan, that's hard to say, to move around as fast as possible, but he's not fast enough for our lightning quick punches. Berserk circle strafes, finishes, and everything we can, keep him going. End of phase 3, he summons a big boy. It won't really help him, as already established the big boys are absolute idiots, and he even hits us with an assist. Thanks, Adam. Kiting remains the name of the game. Our max HP is now below half, so we have to rely on the overhealth from blood pump or from using berserk to make sure we don't immediately die. I come very close here, use our second heart. I'm not really sure it blew up, but it's fine. He's got 18% health left, and we have a chance.
Johnny Silverhand sends us
before they launch another attack.
Finishing him by darting in and punching him in the face during his big missile attack was really satisfying. And that is that. The game is over. We beat it without using a gun a single time. We flush Johnny out of our head, wake up in our flashy apartment, and get ready for a space heist, which we unfortunately can't play. But still, this is my favourite ending because it's cool. We meet Mr. Blue Eyes, who is definitely legit and not a little creep, and V flies off, ready to heist the Crystal Palace in space. Thankfully, she used all of the techniques we learned across the game to... God damn it. And hey, we did it. Cyberpunk, very hard difficulty, without ever firing a shot or using a weapon that wasn't our fists. Don't mention the car bits, I tried to edit those out as much as possible. Looking back, we could definitely have done the whole thing without the gorilla arms. I'm glad we chopped them off halfway through, but they definitely gave us a lot of fun, and that's what it's really about. At the start of the game, when we're low level, I don't actually think they gave us that much of a damage spike over the fists, and late game when I dropped them, we still did a lot of damage, so maybe it didn't matter. The run took a bit of a slump towards the middle, but the early game struggles and the endgame destruction before being zapped right back to zero in the final mission was a whole lot of fun. Build variety is one of the best parts of this game, and they showed that even the dumbest build can work, even on very hard, if you properly use the options available to you and exploit the terrible, terrible, terrible AI. Thank you for watching. I know this is a long video, it took me a long time to work on it, so it means a lot if you made it to the end. I'm planning on doing some more challenge run videos in the future, with one for Oblivion brewing in my head, and some general videos on other RPGs and games that I like playing. If you enjoyed this, you can also catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/sternbozo, where I'm planning on streaming The Witcher 1 pretty soon. Really striking while the iron is absolutely frozen with that one. And again, thank you. Bye!